Hey, Christy Mattoon here with Mind Rewire. I wanted to reach back around and answer a question from I ran a 50% off sale the other day for personal sessions, and somebody had asked a question in that stream, and so I wanted to reach back around and answer it. But first of all, I want to say thank you to everybody who responded. I was kind of blown away, actually. You know, and it just kind of goes to show you the world that we live in, because it was people from all over the world reaching back out and asking for help and what exactly it is I do and how this all works. So I want to start explaining it a little bit more so it makes a little bit more sense, hopefully. And then you'll know if it's something that's right for you. I do have on my website a little button you can click and get a 30-minute, 15 or 30-minute free session where we can sit down and talk, and I can let you know, and you can actually decide for yourself if you think this is right for you. And sometimes when I'm talking to somebody on those calls, it's not even if it's just right for you. I'm trying to decide if it's right for both of us, if the match is good, right? So first of all, I want to make sure whatever you're dealing with is something that I can help you with, and then second of all, that you're ready to go into the direction that I take things. Because if it's not a good match, we don't want to do that. You need to go find the thing that is a good match until something like this becomes a good match, because it is a little bit of a higher level face first dive in. So unless you're ready for that, you're not ready for it. It's just kind of how it works. So but I do want you to subscribe, like the channel. I always appreciate that. It really helps. If you ever see a video that just makes you go, oh yeah, and it really resonates, please share it with other people, because we just want to spread the word and, you know, get it out there that there is ways to do this. It's way easier than what we have been taught. So the question that was asked was, can I do a video on how the mind resists when you're making changes? So this is basically how this works. Your mind, your brain, is what we're actually talking about here. So first, distinguish the difference between the brain and the mind. We're talking about two different parts of your physiology, even though one of them is non-local. Your brain is a structure inside your head. It's inside the cranium. It's the gray matter that stores subconscious, right? It's the whole neural programming idea. So you're creating those neural pathways, and the brain does all the function for the body, right? It takes care of all the stuff. The mind itself is considered a non-local phenomena. And pretty much anybody you talk about, no matter what genre of work they're in, from scientists to anthropologists, will tell you that they're not really sure. If you said, hey, where's the mind located? They really can't tell you. But what we say is that it's a non-local, from my kind of perspective, it's a non-local thing. So the mind itself is more on a spirit level. It's more where you get aha moments. It's more when you're operating outside of the 3D realm that you're getting information from the mind, right? You get these neat little ideas and cool thoughts pop into your head sometimes. That's your mind. If it's your brain and it's the duality of yeses and nos and do's and don'ts and cans and can'ts and shoulds and shouldn'ts and all of that kind of stuff, the back and forth of the brain, that's the plurality or the duality that you're living in, that your brain knows because of your past, that your brain knows because it was genetically programmed through the lineages, through the lineage. Does that make sense? So whatever your mom and dad taught you, first of all, but also whatever they knew, right? Whatever your grandparents knew. So there's some stuff that does come to us genetically through time, because generation after generation after generation did it that way, and they still do it that way, and that's how they teach it, and that's just the way it is, and it's so deeply programmed into you. Those can be kind of tough to deprogram, and so that's how that works, right? So the difference between the brain and the mind, first of all. Second of all, the mind resists. The mind resists, the body resists, the brain resists. Where's the resistance coming from? Probably not the mind. Maybe the brain, for sure. Could be the body, the chemistry of the body. So if your brain is storing information, let's say something happens when you're a kid. Whatever this thing was that happened, you had an emotional reaction to it. And in that emotional reaction, you had a decision to make. I can run and fight, or I can run or fight, right? Those are kind of the fight and flight idea, or I can freeze. Or if the situation was right and you had enough understanding, you may have known that you could just be at peace and this really wasn't an issue. Or maybe it was somebody else's issue. But most children don't know that. Most children aren't able to perceive that way. And so they store the information. They get scared, they get upset, they get hurt. They're, you know, I don't know, as a young kid, we're just so tender with all of these emotions. And so then we store the ones, and then our brain will relate it back to whatever that issue is. Does that make sense? So the brain resisting, the brain's actually just giving you information. If the information doesn't work with the thing that you're trying to do now, you will feel resistance. So let's say I'm trying to change myself and I want to do better, I want to be better, I want to be a whole different person. And I'll start working on this change process. Let's say I start trying to use heart coherence. And I'm trying really hard to be in my heart, and once in a while I get in there and I feel it and it feels so good and it's just amazing. And I kind of hang out there, but then all of a sudden the next day I just crash again. That's the brain sending out information. You know, you woke up again this morning, here's the feeling you get. Here's what it feels like, here's what it is. So that's when this has to turn into a little bit of a practice, and you have to create a cadence that goes along with it. It's this continual movement through feeling different than how you felt yesterday. And so you're reprogramming and making those changes in a couple of different ways. If you're doing the heart coherent part correctly, you're going to actually get into a level of high alpha, and maybe even better if you sit there long enough, where the subconscious mind just opens up and now we can just switch information in and out. And you're doing it in a practice. It's a cadence. It's a habitual thing that you're starting to do in your life. Instead of letting it just go haywire, you've made a commitment to yourself to do something different. And in that commitment, the consistent, constant doing and doing is going to start to change the subconscious. So we have a couple of different angles working here. On the end of the body, right, the end of it with how body gives you resistance. Let's say you've changed your conscious mind to do something different, but the subconscious hasn't quite caught on yet. It's not programmed into the system yet. The system is still pulling up old programming. Your body is expressing the chemicals of that old feeling. It's giving you back information based on what you think you know, based on what your subconscious mind has to give back to you. Does that make sense? And so when I'm working with people, and this is why sometimes people will get on here and start watching some of these things, and they're like trying, and they're like, I can feel it, I feel like it's getting there, but I'm just not, like there's something just stuck in the system. It's probably those old neural peptides from whatever happened. If we can wash those out of the system, and it can take a little bit of doing, it's not something that I'm just going to throw up on here, because first of all, it's something I do with people. And when I'm doing it, whether it's in a group or whether it's with a person privately, when I am doing it with you, it's a little bit different than trying to do it on your own. Because if you're sitting there trying to do this whole huge thing that I go through with people on your own, you're going to probably miss something. I know the only way I was able to do it was somebody else sitting down with me and going, hey, did you ever think of it like this? And it gave me a whole different way of moving and going through what I do with people now. And so while I do give a ton of information away on here, and I love to do that, if you work with me privately, it will be a totally different way of getting through this. It just is. It happens faster because there's two of us working, and the focused intention onto a subject creates change quicker than these broken up little pieces, which is probably where you're stuck at right now. It's probably part of the resistance. As you're getting a little bit of good thing in there, and then the subconscious is kicking back all of this, what we call resistance. Now understand, resistance can come in the way of many different words that we label it. Fear, distress, anxiety, depression, self-sabotage, doubt, chaos, frustration. That's all resistance. And it all comes from the same chemicals that happened or showed up in your system whenever the original issue happened, which is actually how we can clear it without knowing the original issue, because we have a feeling. All we need is the feeling. We can change the feeling, we can start changing all of the issues without even going through the issues themselves, which is what I do with people. We don't have to have and grind through all these crazy issues. What we need to do is sit down and find a different feeling and then start training that into your system, which is what heart coherence does if you're doing it correctly. I hope that makes sense. Let me know if that helped. I will, once this gets done, I'll stick that underneath the person who asked this question, so you'll find that easy. And I'll see if I can shoot it to you in an email also, because I do believe you were emailing me. I hope this blesses you. I hope this helps you. Today is an interesting day. It is Saturday. I have a huge event going on Monday night here in LA. Saturday, Sunday, Monday is Cyber Monday. If you're a person who does that kind of thing and you get all crazy about buying stuff and doing things for the holidays, you want to give the gift that keeps on giving. Give somebody my sessions. Give somebody a 10-pack of my sessions and watch their world change. Somebody who understands, or you understand, is in a process of change and they're trying to go through whatever they're trying to get through. And I will do the same thing I did at Thanksgiving until the end of Cyber Monday. Everything, my sessions will be 50% off the regular price, not 50% off of another sale price that you saw somewhere else. Somebody else tried to do that with me. 50% off the regular price, all right? And I'm just saying, it will change your life. You can go on my YouTube, or this is YouTube, you can go on my other channels and stuff and read reviews, and even on my website, mindrewire.com. It's fast, it's efficient. If you are wanting to ascend through this process of humanness, this is a good way to go. It just is. All right, I am going to get off because I have another person rolling in, somebody who actually took me up on the offer for the 50% off thing. And I hope to be talking to you soon. Thank you for being here.